Oh, hey everybody, how's it going? I just wanted to make a quick little film to show you how to use Kam Snaps and how to remove them when you've screwed up and you've put in two male parts versus one male part and one female part, because that's exactly what I did yesterday. Before I begin, I want to excuse the music that you might hear in the background and even some singing. That's my husband having a lovely time in his work from home office upstairs. It's not that bad, so I'm not going to tell him to stop. Okay, right, so to our fabric pieces. A word about fabric. When you are using Kam Snaps, you can use most kinds of fabric, as long as it's not too thick, because you need the two parts of the snaps to be able to fit together tightly. And if the fabric is too thick, then the two halves won't be able to meet closely enough in order to form a close bond. And conversely, you mustn't use fabric that's too thin, because then the fabric won't be able to take the repeated closing and unclosing of the Kam Snaps. So if you're using thin fabric such as quilt weight fabric, it's a really good idea to interface that fabric first, either with two layers of, say, medium fusible interfacing or a couple of layers of woven fusible interfacing. Okay, so but today I'm going to be using faux leather fabric, and the faux leather fabric that I have is plenty strong enough. So I'm only going to demo with a piece of fabric. This could arguably be a strap, and if it was a strap, then the pieces would probably be folded in half like this. But just today I'm just going to show you with a scrap of faux leather, and that will do the job just well. Okay, so besides my pieces of faux leather, I've got the snaps. And the snaps, to make one set, you're going to need 4 pieces that look like this. And I will describe what those pieces look like. So for each set, you're going to need two platey bits. Well, I say platey bits because the front side looks flat like this, and the wrong side has these spikes, and you'll need 2 of those per set, and they're identical, so doesn't matter whether this goes on the back of the strap or the front of the strap. These platey spiky bits are the same. Now, the important parts of the snap that go on the wrong side of your strap or whatever you're clipping onto are the male and female parts, and they are not identical. Well, because one is male and one is female. The male part, I'll take that away. So this is the right side of the male part, has what looks like a raised lip in the center. That's the right side of the male part, and that is the wrong side of the male part. And in most Kam Snaps, I mean, they tend to be made all in the same way. You'll see that there are little dots in the circle and a circle cut out of the middle. So that's the male part. I'm going to take that away a second. And this is the female part. So this is the right side of the female part, and unsurprisingly, the female part has an indent, a circular indent, in which, unsurprisingly, the male part fits into when you close the snap shut. So that is the right side of the female part, and this is what the wrong side looks like. Okay, I think that should be pretty straightforward. I'm going to put the pieces down now and then have a word about the tools that you will use. Firstly, you're going to need an awl. So I always like to use a tapered awl. Nothing special about it other than it's clover, and I love clover tools. But anyway, yes, an awl. You'll need this to pierce a hole in the fabric for the spiky platey bits to go into your strap or whatever it is that you're putting a snap into. And you're going to need a Kam Snap tool thing. So it looks like that. So my one just happens to be a pretty shade of yellow. Ordinarily, they all look like this. So the snaps might come, the tools might come in different colours, but they always look like this. They're just simple spring-loaded, hand-operated, and the right side always has the lever on the top, and it has the cup on the bottom. So the cup or the base is where these pointy platey bits sits, and this cup thing here that you press onto. So I'm going to just take this. I'm going to take this rubber thing off so you can see what this tool actually does. So I'll take that off a second. Try and leave it on there. No. Okay, so now that I've removed the clear cup thing, you can see that all the press really does is when you depress the lever, it presses this metal stem onto the pokey out, the pointed tip, and when you press it down fully, it squashes the plastic down over whichever part you have put into the snap. So what you would have is your plate bit, then fabric, then either your male or female part. So let's just pretend for a moment that I've got the stem and I've got the fabric in there, and I've now just placed a male part. All that this does is when you press this stem down very hard onto the pokey plastic bit, the pokey plastic bit gets pressed down and it squashes and mushrooms over the male or female part. I might be using too many words to explain something very, very simple. So how about I just show you it happening instead? Okay, so here we go. I'm going to put the plastic cup thing back on the tool because it needs to be there in situ for it to work. I'm going to get one part of my pretend strap and I'm going to put the snap just here, I think. And then the next thing I do is I pierce a hole, not too big. You never want to pierce for snaps and fasteners. You always want to pierce a hole that's slightly too small rather than slightly too big, because you can always make the hole bigger, but you can't make a hole bigger smaller. Okay, so let's say that this is the right side of my strap, and I'm going to put one of the Sharpie platey things in through the hole that I've just made, like that. And because this is the right side of the strap, I am going to pick a male part of the snap. So I'm going to do the male part first. So let's say, for argument's sake, it's a strap or it's a flap. Of course, because the videos are not coming off. Okay, I now put the male part, which, as you remember, is the circular part with a raised lip. I now put that on the wrong side of my strap, on top of the spike, like this. So that's what the wrong part looks like. You can see the spike just sticking out there, and on the other side, that's my platey bit. And I now take it to my machine, and I'm going to place the flat circular part onto the cup that is on the tool, and then that just places it perfectly in position. Of course, that's just going to snap off because I'm filming myself. Great, thanks very much. Let's get that back on there. Okay, right, so I'm going to place that in situ again, and then make sure that the cup, the plastic cup thing, is sitting over the male part. And when I'm happy that's home, I'm just going to press the lever hard. There's no, you won't hear any click. There's no sound, but as long as you know that you've pressed nice and hard, you would have definitely squashed that plastic pointed tip. Sometimes you might need to pull off Sometimes this can happen, no big deal, because you can put that back on the machine quite easily. And that is now firmly in place. And can you see that where that plastic pointed tip was, it's no longer there? That's because I've squashed it flat using the tool, and now that tip is not only flattened, it's actually mushroomed around the male part, so that this is now firmly, and that's not going to come apart. Kam Snaps are beautifully strong and beautifully simple. So, okay, so this is, let's say, my tab or my strap. I'm now going to do what would be the bag part, or, well, the other side of the strap. And this time I want this rounded flat part to be on the wrong side, of my fabric. So I take my awl again, make a hole as to where I want my snap part to be, and I now, this time round, put my platey pointy bit. I don't know what these things are called, do you? I just make it up half the time, but hopefully you understand what I'm saying. So, platey pointy bit. You can see the spike coming out of the fabric there. I'm now going to place my female part. See the female part, right side of the female part. So the right side of the female part needs to be right side up. And see, that's the hole that I'm going to place over the spike, like that. So that's what the right side looks like. You can just see the spike coming out there, and that's what the wrong side looks like. And just as before, got to put the machine together again. 1 moment. Just as before, I place the platey part into the cup of the machine, and then, just like before, press down very, very hard. That noise is, making that noise is obligatory, by the way. It definitely helps. And then take apart, and then there you go. So again, the pointy plastic bit is no longer there because I've squashed it flat with a tool, and that is now nicely, firmly affixed. So the female part is the part that, by convention, goes on the bag or the bottom part of your strap, and this, pretend that that's the flap, or the top part of the strap goes on the top, and the two click together beautifully. And that, they're nice and strong, see? There's a lovely, satisfying click. And I swear, once you get hold of a Kam tool with some really yummy coloured Kam Snaps, you will literally go around your house looking at things that you can put cams in. Everyone does it. Okay, now, what do you do when you've been a numpty like me and you've inserted 2 male parts or 2 female parts into your strap or bag or whatever? Because everyone does it, and I did it last night. Okay, so it's actually quite easy to take one of the snap bits off and still be able to start again. So it's not like you've got to throw your bag away after you've removed the Kam Snap. So take, it's much easier. It's easier to remove both, but you've got slightly more access when trying to remove a female part. What you'll need is a fine screwdriver, just like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert my screwdriver, and I'm going to try and remove the squashed down plastic tip that is inside of the female part. Now, I really hope this will work easily as it did yesterday when I wasn't filming, but here goes. Right, so I'm just going to work around. I'm just going to work around the plastic and pick it off almost. If it doesn't come off, which it doesn't always, you will at least be able to lift up a part of it so that you can loosen the layers. In fact, I can see now that it's coming off. Do watch your fingers, because obviously you don't want to be stabbing your fingers or your lovely bag or whatever with your screwdriver. So be very careful, folks. That is coming away. Now what you should be able to do then is a bit more easily slip your screwdriver into the wrong side, because you don't really want to be scratching your lovely fabric on the right side. And now you should be able to a little bit more easily get your screwdriver into the layers and twist off the offending part. Ooh, here we go. There we go. So I've just been working around the plastic squash down tip with my screwdriver, working around and around, and now you'll see that I'll just be able to flick it off. There you go, ping. So I flicked it off with the screwdriver. I haven't hurt the fabric, and it's going to be much more easier to pick off. There you go. No swearing, no teeth, and no sore fingers. And then the fabric is unharmed. There's just the hole left behind from where you pierce the hole to put the snap in. So I hope that's made Kam Snaps a little bit easier to insert and a little bit easier to remove. Bye.